Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Startup Send podcast. This is your host, Jonah Lupton. Got a fun episode for you today. We have Brandon Foo. He is the co-founder of a company called Polymail. So they've actually gone through Y Combinator. They've raised about $820,000. Company was launched in late 2015. It's about a year and a half now. What's actually fun is they're actually based out of Venice. So with all the Snapchat stuff going on this week, they're kind of in the middle of it. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to talk about it, but it's got to be fun being in that part of California and seeing all these millionaires and billionaires being created in the last couple years, I guess. So Polymail is called an email productivity app or email productivity platform for consumers and small businesses. And let's talk to Brandon. How are you, man?
I'm good, Jonah. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for joining us. So I guess we'll just do this quick. What's it like being in Venice with all the Snapchat stuff happening?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've been living in Venice for a couple of years now, so I've definitely been seeing this happen over a period of time. And I think there'll be hundreds of new millionaires that are made overnight with the IPO that happened this week. I think we've seen a lot of shift in the demographic and the kind of people and the prices that we're seeing in Venice, and I think that's going to continue to change over time. That said, I think Snapchat's IPO and everything they've done is a tremendous milestone for the LA tech community. Really excited to have them kind of lead the charge for a lot of new and great tech startups being founded and actually staying in LA.
Definitely agree. Yep, they're gonna compete hard against San Francisco. A lot of angel investor, a lot of people there are gonna be looking to throw money at startups. So I'm sure you probably have friends that work at Snapchat. And now, who are your early investors? I know you want Y Combinator, but who else?
Yeah, so most of our investors have been private angels, some from LA, some from the Bay Area, and some others from around the world.
Okay.
We have investors, angel investors. Zuma Ventures is one from LA. Another one, Mabo Mogadam, who is actually the founder of Rap Genius, and also YC founder is one of our investors. So we've got a great group that's behind us, and we're really appreciative of their support.
Now, you started this company in October 2015. What were you doing before that?
Yeah, so my co-founders and I actually worked on two companies prior to starting Polymail. After we graduated in 2014, we started a development consulting agency where we're basically designing and building products for other companies. And we also started a co-working space in LA called Control Collective.
Cool.
We started in Playa Vista, and actually they just opened in the location in downtown.
Is that co-working space still active or open?
Yeah, it is. We're no longer involved in that company, but they're definitely still up and doing well.
Nice. Okay, so then what made you guys get together and start Polymail, and what does Polymail do?
Yeah, so I think after working on those two companies for about a year or so, we realized that it wasn't the best fit for what we were looking for. It didn't really have the opportunity for really building and creating something that we felt was super meaningful. And so during that time, we also discovered that email was a huge pain point still, especially for businesses. It seemed that millions of companies, including ours, were using gmail.com in the web browser, which is, the same email product that my mom uses. It's designed for consumers. And to get around that, companies were installing these web plugins on top of Gmail to get features like email tracking or contacts and calendar integration. And then we found that it resulted in a really poorly integrated user interface. It was essentially HTML hacks on top of your web browser. And not only that, none of those features were available on mobile, even if you had installed them all onto your desktop. And so we thought that there was a pretty clear opportunity for building a unified and cohesive email platform actually designed for how businesses work. That could be, cross-platform, available on desktop, mobile, tablet, and really deliver all the functionality that business users needed with a really superior end user experience. So that was our goal and our vision kind of for starting the company. And we transitioned out of our previous two projects and started working on Polymail in the fall of 2015. And that's how we got started.
It is pretty amazing with all the business apps out there and SaaS products and services that we all use. There really isn't anything great for email. And I have been using Gmail. I use the native iPhone email app on my phone, obviously. And then on my browser, I use the Gmail. And, I can't track anything. Like I don't see who's opening or who's reading. And it is a little frustrating that Gmail or Apple really haven't come out with anything better. So I can see where you guys saw an opportunity in the market. And, here comes Polymail. Now, when did you
Absolutely.
guys apply? When did you guys apply to Y Combinator?
Yeah, so the funny thing is we actually applied to YC when we first started, before we had even built anything. So as we just had the idea for Polymail. This was in the fall of 2015. At that time, we applied to the YC Fellowship, which is like the pre-accelerator program where they just give you a grant, I think, for $12,000. They don't even take any equity. It was their first year doing it, and we were just like, why not give it a shot and see what happens? And we were rejected the first time. So we're a bit disappointed about that. But after we had built a prototype, we launched it. We were in private beta. We went out and applied again in the spring of 2016 and ended up getting into the summer program.
Okay, so the three of you guys went out to San Francisco?
Yeah, so we moved the company up to the Bay Area. We lived in Sunnyvale for about 4 months. And that's when things really got started, I think.
Now, that 3-month experience at Y Combinator, how did that change the company? I mean, did you guys make any major pivots, or what? I don't know what's the right word. I mean, did you guys have any breakout moments, I guess, where you're like, you realize that you were not doing something that you should be doing?
Yeah. So I think the great thing about YC is that a lot of, if not all of what they teach is available for free on the internet. So there's Paul Graham's essays, which encapsulate a lot of the kind of YC mentality and the YC teachings. There's a YC blog and everything. And so we were huge fans before, we got into YC. And so we had read pretty much everything. And I think a lot of that was ingrained in how we built the business, even before we got into the YC program. So I wouldn't say that there was, anything that was super drastic, like a pivot or anything that occurred during that period. But YC does a really good job of working with you and understanding, your business and what the important things to focus on, and really focusing you on the parts that really matter. And so YC helped us tremendously, and we did a public launch. So we were in private beta up until July of last year, and they helped us do our public launch, and we opened up to everybody, and that went really well. And of course, they helped us with Demo Day, which is at the end of the YC program. It culminates in a fundraising event where they bring you in front of hundreds of the best investors in the world. They kind of train you to pitch and tell your company's story in a way that's the most compelling. I think on top of that, the YC network is one of the most beneficial things that our company has had from that experience, especially coming from LA, where we don't have immediate access to all of the great startup and startup people and investors in the Bay Area. Being able to plug into kind of YC Silicon Valley network, which I think is one of the best networks in the industry. And they do a great job of keeping all the YC alumni. Everyone's really active. Everyone's really helpful. And I think being able to walk away with that is definitely something that we really appreciated.
Awesome. Yeah, no, definitely a fantastic organization. I mean, we've had a handful of Y Combinator grads on here, and I mean, everyone only has nice things to say about Y Combinator, all the people involved, like you said, the demo days and whatnot. Now, are you guys more focused right now on individuals like us, or on small businesses, enterprises, and teams?
Yeah, so we launched Polymail Pro in about 3 months ago, which is our first paid product. It's a monthly subscription designed for business users and companies. So we provide a lot of extra features on top of the regular email clients, like email tracking, message templates, CRM integration. And we just recently launched Polymail Pro Teams. So now you can actually work with Polymail, other people on your team, and collaborate and kind of share a lot of your outreach and communication on Polymail itself. And we're still early with the team features, but we have a lot more that's coming up in the next few months that we're really excited to announce soon. So we're definitely making a shift from kind of individual prosumers and small businesses towards larger teams, and focusing on how can we really improve the email communication and collaboration experience on these teams.
Cool. What do you guys charge for that right now on the Pro?
Yeah, so Polymail Pro is $11 a month, monthly, $9 a month annually. And right now it's the same pricing for teams, so $11 a month per user.
Okay. So, I mean, it's a little bit more expensive than Gmail, for businesses, but I'm sure you get a hell of a lot more features out of it.
Yeah, so it's actually designed to be used alongside Gmail. Of course, you'll plug in your Gmail account if you already have one, or your Outlook account, your iCloud account, whatever it is that you use for your company's domain. But we're really, in this space with kind of these other SaaS productivity communication apps. So people are paying right now up to $30 or $50 a month for these browser plugins that they put on top of Gmail and gives them, one or two features. Whereas we can take all of that functionality and really combine it into one really seamless experience within the email messaging product itself.
How are you guys acquiring your customers right now? Or by customers, that could include businesses. What's the marketing strategy, and for customer acquisition, what's been working?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate, I think, that the majority of the users that we get today are from word of mouth through organic referrals. We started out when we first built our prototype in late 2015. We launched on Product Hunt, and we were still in private beta at the time, but we actually became the number 3 most upvoted product of all time. It's something like 4,500 upvotes now. And we ended up winning Mac App of the Year. So we actually saw a really, really great traction come early on. And a lot of people who just loved the product, and a lot of people who kind of became champions, became evangelizers, and started telling their friends. And to this day, I think a lot of people who find out about Polymail are still, seeing us on Product Hunt, or from people who saw us on Product Hunt telling their friends about it. Of course, now that we're starting to focus on larger customers and more larger companies, we're starting to think about, some other acquisition channels and distribution strategies. But for now, we'd like to keep the fact that the majority of our customers are coming from good referrals from our existing users. And I think that's something that we'll want to maintain for a long time.
This is Jonah Lupton, founder of the Lupton Group and host of the Startup Sense podcast. Are you struggling to find the right tech team to build your company's website or mobile app? Maybe you've developed a product but need help with your go-to-market strategy, including branding and marketing. Well, stop worrying, because my team at the Lupton Group can assist you with all of those needs. We specialize in helping entrepreneurs and startups of all sizes launch and grow their businesses. For a free consultation, you can email me at jonahlupton@gmail.com or visit our website at luptongroup.co. It's amazing how influential Product Hunt has become to a company's initial launch. I mean, just so many eyeballs.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I think we owe a lot of our success now to them. And they were, completely, really, really supportive of us, and the community on Product Hunt has been really supportive to us, and it really helps transform, at least early on, our ability to reach a tremendous number of users really quickly. And I think, what they've done is amazing in terms of empowering creators like ourselves to be able to reach a really large audience with pretty much no marketing spend and really, really little investment.
What's the biggest company that you guys work with right now? I mean, you can tell us the name if you want, but just in terms of number of employees.
I don't know if I can disclose names, but we do have some public companies, some public enterprise companies so far who have become our customers.
Okay, so you're working with some businesses that have hundreds, if not thousands, of employees.
Yeah, definitely several thousand.
And would they normally transition over, part of the team, part of the employees, like maybe the executive team first, or HR first, or marketing first, or do they kind of do everyone at once?
Yeah. So the way that Polymail works is that it kind of acts, and it is adopted like a consumer product. So it gets adopted by the end users at the company first, without us having to go through a traditional sales process and talking to their IT manager or their CIO. Users find us like they would, otherwise, through organic word of mouth or through searching on the internet. They start using the product and they sign up. And as we're starting to develop more team features and more collaboration functionality, that's where they start to get other people on their team on board to the product, and how it really starts to spread at these kinds of companies.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like a lot of things are going right at Polymail. What are some of the things that have gone wrong over the last couple of years? Because there's always some of them.
Yeah. Definitely. I think building the technology behind our product has been a challenge, and it's been one of the most fun challenges, I think, for us. All 3 co-founders are engineers, and the majority of our team is engineering. So it's been, one of the most gratifying and one of the most challenging things. We've had to build a, full email syncing engine architecture that's able to handle hundreds, tens of thousands of users who are simultaneously syncing their inboxes and keeping everything in real time together. We've definitely had some hiccups along the way, and I think our users know that, and we're really appreciative that they've been patient with us as while we were in private beta, got some of those things worked out. But we've definitely had times, when syncing has gone wrong, and that, people have had, some scaling issues. I think that's common with all companies that grow quickly, is that we had to figure out how to make these things work at scale.
So do you guys also have, okay, so do you have to back up everyone's data on servers?
Yeah, so we do not store your email on our servers. The way it works is that you download the email from your Gmail server. If you're a Gmail user, it downloads directly to your client and stores on your local machine. And our server stores some basic metadata, essentially like an index of your inbox to make sure that we can keep it in sync between multiple devices if you're using Polymail on multiple devices.
Okay. So so when you say scaling up, I mean, you don't have a ton of servers through AWS, for instance.
We do. We
Oh,
do. So yeah, in addition to syncing your email, we're also doing tracking analytics. We're doing contact enrichment. We're doing calendar integration. So there's a lot that our service provides on top of just ordinary email management that we utilize servers, AWS, and a lot of kind of backend architecture for.
gotcha. So outside of, the engineering development stuff, what's been the biggest expense you think for the company?
That really has been the majority of our expenses.
Yeah.
We've been extremely lean so far. We've, done almost zero paid acquisition, as most of our users have been coming through organic word of mouth. So it's really just been a function of server infrastructure costs and our team salaries.
If you guys were going to start doing some paid acquisition, where do you think you would start?
Yeah, I think we're starting to do some experimentation with social ads. We're looking into sales as a channel, as we're looking towards targeting bigger customers who might expect, some kind of traditional sales process or sales touch points. We're beginning to think of those as channels. Like I said, we want to maintain our reputation among our users as a product that they want to refer to our friends. So we definitely want to keep that aspect intact as much as possible as we continue to grow.
What are the typical big companies using right now for email?
So I think the majority of them are using either Outlook or Gmail for business.
Okay. And so, those are the two 800-pound gorillas then.
Yeah, well, definitely Outlook is the legacy leader, and
Yeah.
Outlook has been the enterprise email communication tool for decades now, I think. And from what we've seen,
Outlook was basically built in the 80s, and it feels like it's never changed since.
exactly. From what we've seen in the past 10 years or even 20 years, Outlook hasn't really changed much at all. And while the rest of the software world and technology industry has changed tremendously, and there's, different ways that we collaborate with our teammates, different ways that we handle data and communicate with all the other, software components that a business relies on. And I don't think, some of the incumbents have done a great job of moving progress alongside a lot of those changes.
Do any of the other big internet providers like, Comcast or Time Warner, do they provide business email solutions like this or anything close to this?
Not to my knowledge, I don't think that they do.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but I wasn't sure. And I don't know has Yahoo ever gotten into the business email game?
Yahoo does email hosting. I think they do. They're an email hosting provider for consumers. They have like a Yahoo email app, but I don't think things have been looking too good for Yahoo recently. So I'm
No.
not sure if there's been many updates on that recently, or if there will be.
Where is Yahoo's headquarters? Are they in the San Francisco area or are they down towards LA?
I believe Yahoo is headquartered in the Bay Area in Silicon
Okay.
Valley, but they do have an office, I believe, in Playa Vista, actually, right down around where we are.
Oh, cool. Okay. What else do we need to know about Polymail? What else are you guys working on right now, or what new features do you have coming in 2017 that we can get excited about?
Yeah, so without spoiling too much, one of the new features we have coming up is going to be shared message templates. So you'll be able to, create these reusable templates that you can share across your team, so you can onboard new members to your team really easily, and they have all the communication that they need to get started. Or you can maintain, really consistent brand and messaging across everyone with your team and easily collaborate on those messages. We're working on an analytics platform as well, so team managers will be able to get insight into, if they're on a sales team, take a look at their sales reps and their performance, who's sending messages, how many messages they're sending, what their open rate's like, what the reply rate is like, and even, what templates, what kinds of messages are they sending that are the most effective.
That'd be super helpful for myself. Having a sales team, I'd be able to see who's, because my sales team, they're all commission only. And it's like, it's with that though, it's important, and they have territories. So it's important that I know who's actually putting in the work. And this would be one way that I'd be able to tell.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, now our world and everything that companies do is becoming more and more data driven. I think it's really important for businesses to have insight and, metrics into how are the people on their team performing and what are the successful strategies, and really being able to double down on, what works and make those decisions with actual data substantiating them.
Now, I mean, you're a technical person. Technical people, I think, have an easier time raising money because they can build it themselves. So they don't have to go out and hire someone else to build it for them. But even with, and I'm sure Y Combinator helped you guys raise money. Do you guys think you would have been able to raise money without Y Combinator?
So we did raise a little bit of money prior to YC.
Okay.
That said, I think YC definitely helped us both in the fundraising process, putting us in touch with really, really great investors, a lot of the YC network, who are actually our investors as well, other YC founders, as well as just helping us focus on, the right things on our business and making sure that we're growing at a good pace.
What advice would you have for the listeners if they're getting ready to pitch investors, for their new startup?
Yeah, I think in general, I think specific advice definitely depends on the stage that you're at and what kind of investors you're targeting. I think in general, the most important thing is to have the narrative of your company and the story of your company really refined, and practice that and make sure it's a narrative that both makes your company and your trajectory and your vision sound really compelling, and also makes sense from an investment standpoint. So oftentimes making sure that you paint the narrative of your company in the context of the market that you're targeting, the size of that market, and maybe the size of the opportunity, and really making it easy for the investor to imagine a path from where you are now to where that opportunity is at the end of the road, and kind of setting up all of that context and painting a really vivid story around it, and being able to have the investor, I think, easily imagine, the steps that would happen over the next few years that would make that story actually happen.
So staying on the investor theme, what is the best piece of advice that you've gotten so far from any of your investors? And it could be someone at Y Combinator too, because essentially they're investors now.
Oh, yeah, I think there's a lot there. I think a really good piece of advice is don't raise unless you absolutely have to.
Yep. Sure.
Fundraising, as I learned, and every, I think, early stage founder learns firsthand, is fundraising is an incredibly time-consuming process. It's very distracting when you want to focus on building your business and making your product really great and talking to your customers. And fundraising is completely distracting from all of that and really doesn't benefit your company in any way aside from giving you money. So I think being strategic about your fundraising, both when you fundraise, how much you're fundraising, and making sure that when you do go out to fundraise, you do so in a concentrated period of time and raising enough money so that you don't have to go out and do the fundraising process again for at least 1.5 to 2 years is usually the benchmark.
Are you able to share with us, and if you don't want to, I totally understand, how many people are using your platform right now? I mean, it could be ballpark. I assume it's above 10,000, right?
Yeah, so we currently have about 35,000 monthly active users.
Awesome.
About 15,000 of those are daily active, so they're actually using the app every day.
Okay, cool. And when you guys started this company, I mean, did you have any milestone numbers, where you wanted to be in terms of users, 1 year out, 2 years out, 3 years out? And are you guys on track with that right now?
I think when we first started out, we didn't set those kind of milestones because it's, when you're super early on, you're still building the product. I don't think that that's the most important goal to focus on. I think when you're first starting out, the most important goal to focus on is, can I build a product that people find valuable, that people are actually interested in? Do people actually care about? And I think we were able to hit that milestone through our private beta, through our product launches, and find a place where we're making a product that people really derived value from, and we're really excited about using. So I would say that we hit that milestone, and everything after that, our next, our next 12 months, our next 24 months, and our metrics are kind of at a different place now, but we're working towards those as well.
And what are some of the metrics that you like to look at, to determine, the health of your own company?
Yeah, so I think for SaaS companies, for software as a service businesses, there's a large number of metrics that can indicate the health of your company. I think, of course, MRR or ARR is probably the one of the strongest indicators, which is monthly recurring revenue or annual run rate. But I think, in addition to that, there's a lot of important metrics that help drill down on, what are people doing and where areas of focus that you might want to pay attention to. So I think churn rate is something that we're looking at very closely and making sure that people who sign up to use the service are getting value from it, they're continuing to use it, and that we can keep churn low. And I think
what is your monthly churn, just out of curiosity?
Right now we're at about 7%.
Okay, and that's for the free version or the pro version?
So we're looking at MRR churn. So this is the percentage, of paying users basically who discontinue their service or choose not to renew.
Okay, gotcha.
So I think that's really important, making sure that not only are users signing up and they're paying for the service, but they're also getting enough value from it that they continue paying and that they continue to be active and engaged users. We look at daily active users, of course, monitor, how many people are using our product at a given time, as well as some metrics on engagements in the product. So how many messages are they sending, how many messages are being sent per user, and some other core actions that we want to see if people are actively using the product, how actively are they using it, and so forth.
I think a lot of founders understand the lean startup method now, where you want to try to start as lean as possible and then build from there after you find that product market fit. But that still doesn't mean that some of us don't build unnecessary features into the early versions. Did you guys add anything into the early versions that you kind of wish you hadn't wasted any time on, that people never really used?
Let me think about the interesting thing about email is that there's so many different types of email users and so many different types of email workflows that we get a ton of requests from our users who are asking for all different kinds of features. So definitely, I think finding a focus or being able to stay focused when users are trying to pull you in all kinds of different directions is definitely been something that we spend time in thinking carefully about. So I wouldn't say that there are any features right now that we wouldn't have added. I think all of them are important parts of the product and important features that our users are getting value from. And I think that we try and be as disciplined and deliberate about making sure that's the case, and that we're always building features that our users find valuable and that they want to see in the product. But we're also staying true to our own vision for the product and what we want to see it become as well.
Are you guys going to get into the document signing business?
I don't think so. Not anytime soon. There's some great companies in that space. HelloSign being another YC company that we're big fans of.
Right. So they're one, and I mean there are a few of them, and it's amazing some of the valuations of like DocuSign, for instance. I mean, I think they're in the $2, $3, or $4 billion range. So I mean, it's a big market, but sounds like you guys you enjoy what you're doing right now. Have you guys been approached by anyone for acquisition?
No, we haven't. I mean, we're still early on in our journey, and there's still a lot we want to accomplish. I don't think that an acquisition is on a horizon anytime soon, if ever. So no, we haven't really thought about that at all.
It might happen. I guess it happens when you kind of least expect it, and there's no right way to plan for it. I guess if it happens, it happens. What has been, kind of the most fun part of this journey for the last 2 years? What do you enjoy the most about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, when I was in college, I think, and trying to figure out if, I wanted to get a regular job or do a startup, I think I told myself what I really want to do is work every day building cool shit with my friends. And so far, that's still been the case. And I'm still working with my friends. And everyone on the team, I think, has a great time working with each other, building a product that we truly love and that thankfully thousands of other users in the world are also really excited about. So I think at the end of the day, being able to come to work and work with people who really enjoy working with and on a product that's really exciting, I think is the most gratifying thing. I'd say that as long as I can continue doing that, and hopefully for a long time we'll be able to say that we're still in that position where we're working together with the team that we love on a product we love, and I'd like to make that a very core part of our company's culture.
I mean, like they say, only an entrepreneur would work 80 hours to avoid working 40 hours. That's like, when it's your company, your baby, and you're passionate about it, you're willing to work twice as many hours as you would, at a traditional 40-hour work week corporate job. So, I I mean, what kind of
Absolutely.
hours are you putting in on a weekly basis, you think?
Yeah, so we're still pretty early and we're still a small team, so we're definitely putting in, startup hours. We're here in the office every day from, 9 to pretty late in the evening. We usually work on weekends, so I'd probably say somewhere around 80 hours, if not maybe more on some weeks. And I definitely think, at an early stage too, when everyone's impact on the company is so tremendous that's, I think, an important thing to maintain.
And what's your do you have a number one business goal for 2017? I mean, besides, coming out with a couple new features and growing the client base, anything else?
Yeah, so we have a couple other goals for 2017. We definitely want to be able to bring Polymail to Windows sometime later this year. So far, we're Mac and iOS only, but we've had a lot of users, Windows users, who are excited about the product, and so we definitely love to bring a Windows version of Polymail to them by the end of this year. And likewise, we'd like to see an Android version as well come to market. Hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be able to be completely cross-platform on all of those devices.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I would assume that's a pretty big rollout, right, for Windows? I mean, is that a lot of engineering work that needs to be done?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, building the entire desktop app for Windows is going to be, I think, one of the larger engineering initiatives for us this year. And we're working hard at it. I think, the way it works is a lot of the early adopter tech community happens to all be Apple users and Mac users, iPhone users, but I think Mac actually makes up, 10% or less of the entire personal computing market. So it's kind of like this adoption curve that past early adopters, you really have to start, especially in the B2B world and going into enterprise, of course, really important for us.
Because enterprise is definitely still heavily Windows, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The Dell computers, HP computers, etc. What is one thing that most people don't know about you? Any hidden talents or weird stories that you want to share with us?
One thing people probably don't know about me is that I've been playing golf since I was about 5. My dad actually, brought me up playing golf and I think wanted me to become a professional golfer. I played in high school, played competitively for a long time, practiced almost every day, but I realized that it wasn't really for me. Although I do appreciate my dad teaching me that and spending all that time.
Do you still watch golf events on TV or like the Masters and whatnot? No?
No, I play golf maybe once a year now with my dad
Okay.
on his birthday, and otherwise I'm pretty far disconnected from the golf world.
Same here. I love golf, but it's a very time-consuming sport. I mean, you got to, you go out there and it's like a, 4 or 5 hour day basically that you have to dedicate to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the competitive golfers now are so good at what they do. It just takes a tremendous amount of work to be able to compete at that level. And that, was a little bit too much for me, I think.
And you guys are still a pretty lean team, right? You're about 5 people at Polymail.
Yep, that's right. We're just brought on our first 2 full-time employees in January. So it was a couple months ago, and up until now, it's mostly been just the 3 co-founders, all of us who've been working on this so far.
Cool. And when do you guys think you'll bring on employee number 6?
We're actually currently looking to bring on a senior software engineer. We're looking for someone experienced in React, JavaScript, web development. So if anyone listening is interested, feel free to reach out. We'd love to chat.
And does everyone at your company currently work out of the same spot, same office?
Yep, that's right. All 5 of us are here in our headquarters in Marina del Rey in Los Angeles.
Sweet. That's pretty much all I got for you, man. Do you have anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up?
I think it's been great. I want to thank you again for having me on. Had a great time. For the listeners, you can check us out at polymail.io. If you're interested in trying out the product, we'd love to hear your feedback. So please give us a try.
And where did the name Polymail come from?
I think my co-founder and CTO, Shahan, actually came up with the name. I think it encompasses the idea that we can build an email platform that is multifunctional and multifaceted in nature, and that allows you to work together with your teammates and work together with all the other software and technologies that you're using. So I think it was a pretty good name that describes the company and the product.
Yep, I like it. I didn't know if Poly had any sort of a Greek or Latin meaning behind it that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I think poly, maybe Latin or something, means many.
Many. Okay. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you being on the show. I know we were supposed to connect a couple months ago, and I think I had to postpone. I can't even remember why, but glad we had a chance to do this interview. Want to wish you guys the best. Sounds like you guys are off to a great start. Exciting for sure. And feel free to come back anytime and give us some updates.
Great. Thank you again so much, Jenna, for having me. I had a great time. Really appreciate the opportunity.
You got it, man. Talk to you soon, Brandon.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.